Hello, I am Stella George from IELTS Resource Center. In this podcast, we will dive into the essentials of the IELTS writing section, giving you the foundational insights you need to get started. Stay tuned, there is a lot to learn ahead.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, we love to take these deep dives, and today we're going to be looking at problem solution essays. Big shout out to Stella George from the IELTS Resource Center.
Yes.
We are using her wisdom keys to guide us through this whole deep dive.
A wealth of information.
If you're studying for the IELTS,
Yes.
this is definitely a kind of essay that you're going to want to know inside and out.
Absolutely.
But even if you're not studying for the IELTS,
Yeah.
I think this structure is super valuable just for thinking through
Oh, yeah.
problems in general.
Absolutely. It's a life skill.
Yeah.
Problem solution is how we function as humans.
Yeah. So what are the things that make this type of essay unique or special?
Well, I think one of the things that's really important is that it has a very clear structure.
Yeah.
There are 4 parts to a problem solution essay, and it's really important to include all of those parts.
Gotcha. So what are those 4 parts?
So we start with an introduction.
Okay.
We move into the
Yeah.
problem.
Then we look at a solution or solutions,
Oh, okay.
and then we wrap up with a nice conclusion.
So starting with that introduction, what are the key things that we're going to lay out?
So in the introduction, there are 2 really important elements. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to paraphrase the problem.
Okay.
So you're going to take the prompt that you were given and you're going to put that into your own words.
So we're not just copying and pasting.
Absolutely not. That will get you a very low score.
Okay.
You need to demonstrate that you understand the topic. So you're going to paraphrase it. You're going to put it into your own words. So for example, let's say that the problem is traffic congestion.
Okay.
You're not just going to say traffic congestion is a problem.
Gotcha.
You might say something like traffic congestion is a growing problem in many cities around the world.
Okay. So we're showing that we understand the topic.
Exactly.
And we're putting it in our own words.
Yes. And then the second thing that you're going to do in the introduction is you're going to give an outline statement.
And the outline statement basically tells the reader what they can expect in the rest of the essay.
Gotcha.
So it's almost like a little roadmap
Uh-huh.
to guide them through the essay.
So are we going to mention both the problems and the solutions in that outline statement?
Yes. So you would say something like, this essay will explore the causes of traffic congestion.
Okay.
And will suggest some possible solutions.
Awesome. So we've set the stage with our introduction.
Yes.
We've paraphrased.
Yes.
We've given our outline statement.
Uh-huh.
Now we're getting into the meat of it. We're going to talk about the problems.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that are important to keep in mind as we're explaining and analyzing those problems?
Well, the first thing that I would say is that it's very important to have a very clear topic sentence
Okay.
to introduce the problem that you are going to discuss.
So each paragraph is going to have its own topic.
Yes, each problem will have its own paragraph. And you're going to start that paragraph with a really clear topic sentence, and then you're going to support that topic sentence with some evidence.
Okay. So what does that evidence look like?
So the evidence could be a number of different things. You might use examples, you might give some statistics, you might explain the cause of the problem, or you might give some kind of real-world example.
Cool. So can you give us a concrete example of what this might look like?
Absolutely. So let's imagine, again, we're looking at the problem of traffic congestion.
Oh.
Your topic sentence might be something like, the increasing number of private vehicles on the road is a major cause of traffic congestion.
Okay.
And then you would go on to support that topic sentence with some of the evidence that I've mentioned.
So could we use something like, the growing middle class in China and India and how that's contributing to more cars on the road?
Absolutely. That would be a great example.
Okay, cool.
And then you might also talk about, urban sprawl, how cities are expanding and people are living further away from where they work. And that's also leading to more cars on the road.
Definitely. And I think bringing in a real world example is super powerful.
Absolutely.
So, for traffic congestion, I was thinking about in, I think it's New Delhi, where they have those traffic jams that are so bad that people literally set up meetings in their cars
I've heard about that.
and have tea and stuff in their cars. It's crazy.
Oh, I can't imagine.
So we've painted this picture of the problem.
Yes.
We've given our evidence. We've got our topic sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to start talking about solutions.
Yes.
And for me, this is always the part where I feel like I just start brainstorming random ideas.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to make them relevant to the problem.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure that our solutions are directly addressing the problems that we've just outlined?
Well, the solution paragraph is structured in a very similar way to the problem paragraph.
Okay.
So again, you're going to start with a nice, clear topic sentence. And that topic sentence is going to introduce the solution. So for example, you might say something like, investing in public transportation is an effective way to reduce traffic congestion.
Okay, so we're making that direct link between the solution and the problem.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then once you've given your topic sentence, you're going to go on to explain how that solution would work. And again, you're going to support it with evidence.
Okay, so with that public transportation example, what kind of evidence could we bring in?
So you might talk about the benefits of public transportation. You might say that it's more environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
It reduces the number of cars on the road. It can be more efficient.
It can be cheaper for the individual?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you could give examples of cities where public transportation has been successful.
I was just thinking about Singapore.
Yes.
They have an amazing public transportation system.
A great example.
Yeah, and it's really helped to reduce traffic congestion.
Absolutely.
So could we also give multiple solutions in that paragraph?
Yeah, absolutely. So you could have one paragraph that gives 2 or even 3 solutions.
Okay.
So you could talk about investing in public transportation, but you could also talk about encouraging people to carpool or to cycle to work or to walk to work.
So we're showing that we're thinking broadly about the issue.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that we've got lots of ideas.
We've got our introduction, we've got our problems, we've got our solutions.
Yes.
Now we're at the grand finale.
Yes.
The conclusion.
The conclusion.
How do we wrap this whole thing up in a way that's satisfying and memorable?
So the conclusion is really your chance to summarize the main points of your essay.
Okay.
And to leave the reader with something to think about.
Gotcha.
So you're going to briefly restate the problem that you've discussed.
Okay.
You're going to summarize the solutions that you've suggested. And then you might end with a kind of call to action or a recommendation.
So no new information in the conclusion.
No new information in the conclusion, just a nice summary of what you've already said.
Gotcha. And then that call to action, there's just like one sentence at the very end.
Exactly.
Just to leave the reader with something to ponder.
Yes. So you might say something like, it is clear that traffic congestion is a serious problem, but by investing in public transportation and encouraging people to use alternative modes of transport, we can create a more sustainable future for our cities.
Awesome. So that's our 4-part structure for a problem-solution essay. We've got our introduction, our problem analysis, our solution proposal, and our conclusion. We've laid a really solid foundation.
We have.
But I feel like there's so much more to uncover.
There is.
So many like tips and tricks and things that can really elevate this type of essay.
Absolutely.
So let's take a deeper dive in our next segment and explore some of those finer points.
Sounds great. I'm excited.
Me too. Stay tuned.
Okay, so we've got that basic structure down. But like you said, there are all those little extra things that can really boost your score.
Exactly. Like, what are those like pro tips that take it to the next level?
Okay, so let's talk about some common mistakes that people make.
Okay.
One of the biggest ones is overgeneralization.
Overgeneralization.
Yeah. So this is when you make a statement that's too broad or too general, and it's not really supported by evidence.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, so for instance, let's say you're writing about the problem of pollution.
Okay.
And you say something like, all cars are bad for the environment.
Okay.
Well, that's a pretty big generalization.
Yeah, because like, what about electric cars?
Exactly. Or what about people who only drive a very short distance? So you need to be careful not to make those sweeping statements.
So it's about being specific and nuanced.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. What's another common mistake?
Another common mistake is repetition.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that.
It's easy to do.
Yeah, just like saying the same thing over and over again in different ways.
Exactly, and that's not going to impress the examiner.
Gotcha. So how do we avoid that?
Well, you need to make sure that each sentence in your essay is adding something new. You're not just rephrasing the same idea over and over again.
So it's about being concise and making every word count.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
What else? And then, of course, another common mistake is not addressing all parts of the question.
Right.
So if the question asks you to discuss both the causes and the solutions, you need to make sure that you do both of those things.
Yeah, I've seen those questions where it's like, what are the causes of this problem and what are some possible solutions?
Exactly.
And you can't just focus on one or the other.
No, you need to do both.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's really important to make sure that you're giving equal weight to both parts of the question.
Right, so not like just a tiny little paragraph about the solutions and then like a huge essay about the problems.
Exactly. You need to make sure that it's balanced.
Okay, cool. Now, what about those linking words that we talked about earlier?
Yes, linking words are really important.
They can make such a difference.
They can really help to improve the flow of your essay and to connect your ideas in a logical way.
So they're like those little bridges between our thoughts, helping the reader follow along.
Exactly.
Awesome. So can you give us some more examples of how to use them effectively?
Okay, so let's say you're talking about the causes of traffic congestion, and you want to add another cause. You could use a linking word, like moreover or furthermore.
Okay.
So you might say something like, moreover, the lack of investment in public transportation has also contributed to the problem.
Gotcha. So it's like we're adding to the list of causes.
Exactly.
Cool. And what about if we want to show contrast?
If you want to show contrast, you could use a linking word like however, or on the other hand.
Okay.
So you might say, however, some people argue that traffic congestion is not a serious problem.
So we're acknowledging the other side of the argument.
Exactly. And then if you want to show a result, you could use a linking word like therefore or consequently.
Okay.
So you might say, therefore, it is important to find ways to reduce the number of cars on the road.
So we're drawing a conclusion based on the evidence we've presented.
Exactly.
This is making me realize that choosing the right linking word is so important.
It is.
It's like using the right spice in a dish.
Yes.
It can really make or break the flavor.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of flavor, I'm really curious about those sample essays.
Yes.
Like, how can we use those to really improve our writing?
Analyzing sample essays is a fantastic way to learn because you can see how other writers have structured their essays, how they've used language, how they've developed their ideas.
This is like a model to follow.
Exactly.
And we can learn from their successes.
Yes. And you can also learn from their mistakes.
Right, like what not to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're analyzing a sample essay, it's important to pay attention to all of the different elements that we've talked about.
So the structure.
Yes, the structure.
The linking words.
The linking words, the vocabulary.
The tone, the evidence.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And try to identify what the writer has done well.
And what they could have done better.
So it's like a critical analysis.
It is.
We're really dissecting the essay.
Exactly.
And learning from it.
Yes.
I think this is so helpful because sometimes it's hard to see our own mistakes.
Absolutely.
But when we're looking at someone else's work,
it's
easier to be objective.
Yeah, it is. And you can pick up some really useful tips and techniques.
Definitely. And I think it also helps to just see how all of these different elements come together to create a cohesive and well-written essay.
Absolutely.
It's like seeing the finished puzzle rather than just a bunch of pieces.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about some common mistakes. We've talked about linking words.
Yes.
We've talked about analyzing sample essays.
We have.
What else can we do to really master this type of essay?
I think one of the most important things is to practice.
Right? Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
But sometimes even with practice, I feel like I get stuck.
Yeah.
Like I hit a wall and I just don't know what to write. Writer's block.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens to all of us.
So do you have any tips for overcoming that hurdle?
I do. Well, one of the best things you can do is to just start writing. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just get your ideas down on paper.
So just like free writing.
Yeah, exactly. Just brainstorm.
Let the juices flowing.
Exactly. And then once you've got some ideas down, you can start to organize them and refine them.
So it's like we're building that first draft.
Exactly.
And then we can go back and edit and polish it later.
Yes. And another thing that can be helpful is to take a break.
Yeah.
If you're feeling really stuck, just step away from the essay for a little while.
Go for a walk.
Yeah. Go for a walk, get some fresh air, listen to some music.
Clear your head.
Exactly. And then come back to it with fresh eyes.
And sometimes I find that talking to someone about it can be helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just bouncing ideas off of someone else.
Yeah, it can really help to get your creative juices flowing.
And sometimes they'll say something that just like sparks an idea.
Exactly.
That I wouldn't have thought of on my own.
Yeah. It's amazing how helpful it can be to just talk things through with someone.
So we've talked about how to overcome writer's block. What about time management?
Ah, yes. Time management is crucial in the IELTS exam.
Especially for this writing section.
It's especially for the rating section.
Because you got so much to do in such a short amount of time.
You only have 40 minutes.
Yeah. So how do we make the most of that time?
Well, I would suggest spending about 5 to 10 minutes planning your essay, then 25 to 30 minutes writing it, and then 5 minutes checking it.
So that planning stage is really important.
It's crucial.
Because if we don't have a good plan,
Yeah.
we're going to be wasting time.
Absolutely.
left.
You need to know what you're going to write about before you start writing.
Right, so we're thinking about our introduction, our problem paragraphs, our solution paragraphs,
Yes.
our conclusion, and how we're going to link everything together.
Exactly. And it's also a good idea to think about your vocabulary
Okay.
and to make sure that you're using a range of different words and phrases.
So we're not just repeating the same words over and over again.
No, you need to show the examiner that you have a wide vocabulary.
And that you can use it effectively.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And then once you've written your essay, it's really important to check it carefully.
Yeah.
Make sure that you've answered all parts of the question, that you haven't made any silly mistakes.
Like spelling or grammar.
Exactly. And that your essay is well organized and easy to follow.
So we're proofreading for clarity
Absolutely.
and coherence.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about the 4-part structure of a problem solution essay. We've looked at some common mistakes,
Yes.
some useful linking words.
We've analyzed sample essays.
We've talked about time management and proofreading.
We've covered it all.
So I feel like our listeners are well equipped
I think so too.
to tackle this type of essay.
I hope so.
So thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been so insightful,
Thank you.
and I hope that our listeners have learned a lot.
Me too.
So until next time, happy writing.
Happy writing, everyone.
Achieve your IELTS goals with Mr. George. Get ready for IELTS success with personalized guidance from Mr. George Expert Coaching at IELTS Resource Center. With years of experience and passion for teaching, they provide tailored strategies, practical exercises, and real-time feedback to help you reach your target band score. Subscribe now to access exclusive materials, personalized coaching, and flexible online sessions that fit within your schedule. This is your chance to learn from the best and confidently for every session of the IELTS exam. For more information, call or WhatsApp us at 09052964864 or 07083458307.